Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us again. Welcome back to our channel. This is the Love is Healing channel, and in this channel we aim to teach you, show you, embody that love is in fact healing, that when we love ourselves we can love others better, and we can integrate, we can have more empathy, we can have open conversations, especially with those that we disagree with the most. And yeah, we aim to have respectful dialogue and open-ended questions, and just, again, building that empathy and those connections with other people, especially those that believe differently from us. Also, we focus on psychoeducation and all things trauma, spirituality, honestly, just what comes up. All right, please like, share, subscribe, and comment if you have any comments on this video. Hi everyone, welcome back. It's been a long time, I know, since I last recorded an episode. And that's mostly because I've just felt guided to wait for the right time. I don't know. Sometimes I experience periods that way where I feel guided to be silent, so it is what it is. Anyhow, I really debated on what my next video would be on. I'm hoping to keep this one a little bit short. I just wanted to give an EMF update. I went to the chiropractor again recently, and so he gave me some more information on some other symptoms I was experiencing as a result of excess EMF exposure. And I'll just overview, because I guess I updated my list on like what organs EMF impacts the most. So firstly, I think I'll say that I'm learning through various sources that EMF, so that the towers emit different frequencies, and everything emits frequencies, we emit frequencies, etc. And so like different frequencies go through there and target different organs, but also just radiation exposure in general maybe exacerbates the damage to certain organs in our bodies, right? And so the first one I would say would be the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is in there, kind of in the center of your brain, and it's close to your pineal gland. If my speech is choppy, it's because things want to come out in Spanish, so I'm like translating. That said, then there's also the pineal gland. The hypothalamus, though, is associated with the hypothalamic, pituitary, adrenal, and thyroid axis, right? And so that's responsible for a stress response. Whenever we're stressed, that becomes activated. We secrete cortisol and adrenaline, and then ideally that's supposed to stop. EMF is a constant distress signal. It does impact the hypothalamus. We release adrenaline, and then that doesn't really stop. And so because it's a constant distress signal, it raises blood pressure and it raises cortisol levels, and then over time that can lead to heart disease and or diabetes, respectively, on top of just adrenal fatigue / dysfunction, whatever you want to call it. So then that's one. Another one would be the thyroid, 1/2, because I also mentioned the pineal gland. Then there's the thyroid, and the thyroid is here. It's a kind of butterfly shaped organ here, and that's responsible for a lot of our hormones in our body. Every cell in our body is said to have a thyroid receptor because it's that important. And so yeah, it can very much mess with your hormonal health, your metabolic health, and your mood, right? So if your hypothalamus is being overexposed, maybe some symptoms that you might see through mental health could be anxiety and panic, and potentially ADHD-like symptoms, just being really flighty. Then for the thyroid, you could see things like hyperthyroidism, right? And again, reminder that this is not medical advice, though. Yeah, you could see things like probably more likely depression, but also it's possible, anxiety if you're in the hyperthyroid category. Then we have weight gain and things like that would be associated with hypothyroidism, right? Because it's just getting fried, bombarded, targeted, etc. You have the small intestine, which is prone to infection anyway, just because of the way that the ileocecal valve that comes down from your stomach and stuff, it's just really susceptible as it is. And so, yeah, that could exacerbate any GI symptoms. With GI symptoms and SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, you can have fungal overgrowth as well in response to that. You could also have anxiety, depression symptoms, panic, hallucinations, psychosis in response to that overexposure. Then we have the spleen. It's an organ that is in the right side of your body, a bit below or around like where your ribs end. And that is something that isn't really talked about, but from what I'm understanding, gathering, researching, it is an organ that is highly involved in filtering out toxins in the blood. And so there are research studies historically, and I've mentioned it, and we do have a longer EMF video on our channel. Though, you know, I was thinking about that one, and I'm like, oh, if that filters out the blood. And historically, there have been studies and anecdotal, stories of people, children, living near radio towers, having things like leukemia or just a higher incidence of leukemia. I'm like, that makes sense. If the blood isn't being filtered out because the spleen's being really bombarded, makes sense. So there's that. And if the blood isn't being filtered properly, you could imagine how the toxins are just floating around everywhere to every organ and things like that, and why there would be a higher incidence of cancer. And so the last one that I'm thinking of is the sex organs, right? And so that involves the ovaries, testes, etc., uterus, internal and external sex organs. And so I'll say that. And those also secrete their own hormones and things. So then that could also wreak havoc if our hormones, especially our sex hormones, are particularly estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. If those are imbalanced, those cause a lot of mood instability too, mood lability, right? So like up and down mood swings type of thing, or intense anger, rage. Could be intense anxiety, panic, could be depression, just kind of depending what we do and don't have enough of, right? And so I just wanted to mention that those are things to consider, short and sweet. I'm not saying, I don't know, it's hard to say, right? This is just things struggling. It's like, this is what I've learned from the research that I've done from various sources, online, in books, podcasts, lectures, trainings. So I just wanted to throw that out there. For me in particular, I've been impacted in my hypothalamus and in my spleen. I do feel it a bit in my thyroid, but I haven't done anything about it. And then again, just as a refresher, there are different things that you can do to protect yourself against EMF. EMF is electromagnetic frequencies, and it's emitted by electronics, right? 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. Guess what? I just recently learned there's a 6G. So yeah, and it gets more powerful as it goes on. And so anyhow, that electronic devices, anything that emits a frequency or signal, radios, Bluetooth, laptops, phones. So yeah, any of these things, even smart TVs. So yeah, electronics emit EMF. You could look it up yourself of different sources of EMF, so you could kind of check and see what different things you're exposed to, not exposed to. And then also, something I didn't mention is these things can also cause insomnia. On top of being exposed to the blue light, it's just, again, a constant distress signal. So then your cortisol is really high. So then if your cortisol is high, your melatonin is low. And so they teeter-totter. So in the morning, your cortisol should be super high because you just woke up, right? And then as time goes on throughout the day, it goes like this. So then your melatonin is really high, your cortisol is really low. But if you're in constant distress because of the EMF, then you don't really get sleepy, or like your sleep doesn't last. Then there's different things that you can do to protect yourself from EMF. You can wear EMF wear. This is an EMF protection shirt. I've talked about hats, beanies. There's protection for your thyroid. There's hoodies. There's pajamas. There's long sleeve shirts. There's pants, there's underwear, and so you could just look for them, right? So there's protective wear, there's other ones that claim that they diffract EMF, and so that would be something that you could wear around your neck or have near you, and then allegedly it diffracts EMF, which I'm not sure what diffracting means, but I know Aries Tech is a company that sells that I'm actually looking into myself, and here within the next month I'm hoping to get one, and I will give an update. And then also there's EMF grounding mags that you can find online. CuriouslyPresent, I think .com. CuriouslyPresent.com sells those. There's also like EMF Rocks, I think .com sell them. So yeah, and you can read there on their websites about what they claim and how many you would need for your square footage. I've been told that for my house it's about 1,200 square feet. Because there's so many 5G towers around me, I was recommended to have at least 10 stacked up on top of each other, which I don't have that many yet, but I'm working on it. Anyway, I just wanted to give that update and speak up a little bit. It's a lot. And it's just something else to keep track of, right? We talk about in social work the person and environment lens, among many others, human behavior and social environment. Maybe not that one, but the person and environment. And so, you know, as long as we can kind of chip away and like address toxins, whether it's EMF, other chemical toxins in the air, whether it's things in our food, etc., the better our mental health outcomes are, from what I've seen. And yeah, I think that's mostly what I want to mention that I've seen clinically. The symptoms I've seen most are anxiety, panic, and even maybe hallucination and OCD type symptoms. So yeah, anyway, I want to keep talking just because it's been forever, but I'm going to end the video here. Thank you all for watching. It's good to see you. As always, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Please give us a like, share, subscribe. And you can find us at loveishealingllc.com for any bookings, trainings, collaborations, things like that. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and our handle is at loveishealingllc. Take care, everyone.